Yeah, my name's Colin O'Malley. I was recommended to this board from Sean Nolan. Chris Lucido also mentioned there was a seat available. As I'm a commercial fisherman in Gloucester, born and raised in Gloucester, graduated from Gloucester High in 2011. Proceeded to go to the University of Utah, and I commercially fish now as primary occupation year round, and also spend summertime charter fishing. So spend year round on the water, specifically Gloucester Harbor, primarily commercially lobstering and supplementing with charter fisheries. So have some background in kind of the tourism industry in Gloucester. Was raised on the Annisquam River, commute there quite a bit. And yeah, thankful to be a part of this and give any insight from the commercial fisherman perspective, given that industry certainly fluctuates quite a bit. Yeah, and glad to do anything I can to help the city.
Great, thanks so much. So I guess we can officially open the meeting. Can we have a motion to accept the minutes from January?
I move to second.
Bob motion to accept the minutes from January and Peter seconded. Any discussion? There was one little bit about one of the votes on, I had to call Chris and say, which vote did we have? It was a little unclear on the increase in fee. Anyway, it's all sorted out. The motion, I went back and looked at the recording and it was correct. And so, all in favor of accepting the minutes? Well, I guess we have to do a roll call because we have two guys. John, accepting the minutes from John McCarthy? Peter?
Yes. Both Peters.
Both Peters. Oh, Peter Young, are you on there? No. Brian?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Phil?
Yes.
Karen? Yes. Donna, yes. 8 in favor, none opposed. We have 1 absent. Peter Young, he's on an island somewhere. So it's very nice. Yes. So, you ready to go?
Got me?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is back to the issue of,
Commercial warrants.
yep, I got it. Which we don't, I went through the entire, waterways ordinance and, we don't have a section for commercial areas in Gloucester, not yet anyway, so.
So I know you were asking for my business
Yeah,
plan.
everybody's.
I don't know if
got one.
everybody got a
Yep.
copy, but I
Yep.
brought an extra one. So I don't know if you got a chance to look that over, but
So first, can you do your name and,
Oh, yeah.
where you live? Yep, great.
yep, Mike Duncan, I live here in Gloucester and I own Gloucester Boat Rental. And then I guess, you guys asked me to write a business plan up, which I did, kind of explaining what I have for boats and how many people I bring into town and stuff. And then what I do for advertising to get people here. And, basically I came up with a conclusion that obviously it's a rental business, so numbers can't be exact every year, but I bring in a range between 1,500 and we'll say 2,500 in the past, 5 years. And that's per year. And obviously, when people come to town, they obviously do other stuff too, other than just what they're coming to see me, but I'm trying to grow my business and, I'm trying to do a sailboat rental, add sailboats to my thing. And to do that, it'd be a lot easier to do it with a mooring setup than to do it having them come into the Gloucester house where the, rental business is located right now. It's a real tight squeeze to get the boats in there as it is. So, this is
How
my
many boats do
solution.
you keep there now?
I have, last year I had 7, I have 8, I have enough spots for 7-ish. I do double tie, one of them at the end. So I am kind of out of dock space already with what I have. And then obviously if I got the moorings, any overflow would go out to the moorings, and then, the new boats, new sailboats that I want to put on the fleet would go out there too.
And Gloucester Boat Rental is what type of incorporation, partnership, LLC?
LLC.
Uh-huh. And what kind of liability insurance do you carry?
I think it's like, I don't know the plan right in front of me, but you know, like basically. I talked to them, and they gave me, I think it's either $1 million or $2 million per person. I'm not exactly sure how it's written out, but if you need that information, I can get it for you.
You recently acquired Dave Brown's boat.
I did.
You're planning on putting that on one of the moorings?
Nope, I have my own separate mooring out in Southeast Harbor. That's a private mooring.
So you have one personal mooring for your own
I
personal
have, I have
boat?
2 personal moorings, and my father just passed away, and I'll probably be taking over that mooring at this point too. Either that, or I'm gonna put it in my son's name if that's possible, but I talked to the lady at the harbor master's office, and she said I didn't need to figure that out right at this moment. She said we could do it in the spring.
I'm gonna let Chris speak up on this. I just don't see.
And I know,
I-
I know, you had said something about getting in contact with the mayor and stuff. I don't know if you guys did. I went and called them and I talked to them, and they said that basically it's between the water board.
Oh,
and-
it totally
And
is.
he said that his office wouldn't have anything to do with this.
No.
Well, that's what you said in our first meeting, so I just wanted to talk to him and see what he thought.
What do you think?
He said that it was up to the water board and the harbor masters to decide if they wanna put commercial moorings in.
Right, and like I said in the other meeting, that there's nothing in place right now.
Yeah, I know.
As you know, if we do, like we said at the last meeting, if we do that, all the names go into a pool. We put it out there, all the names go in the pool. If we decide there's 1, 5, 10, whatever it may be, all the names go in. Names get picked out of a hat, and then whoever else was on that list goes by timestamp.
Yeah.
So if we did that, you're not even guaranteed a spot, nor is
Oh.
anybody else.
No, but at
There's
least,
a lot-
at least
yeah.
I'll be on a list.
Yeah,
and-
I mean, we can
You know what I mean?
certainly explore it further. I do know you've moved up 13 or 14 spots on the list since January. So you're well on the way, just so you're aware of that. I don't know if we've talked about that.
Yeah, we spoke about
So
it.
you're moving pretty quick on the list. Anybody else have any?
Okay, so
Input.
how many times are you on the current personal mooring list?
I'm on it for 4 new moorings.
Okay, and the.
And when I got on the list, TJ was the harbor master, and he said that I could do a transient mooring, but now it sounds like I can't do a transient mooring because you said that, I mean, obviously I have multiple boats that wouldn't be the same. I could move the boats from mooring to mooring, but it's not what you guys really want the transient moorings to be used for.
Transient moorings only 14 days stops,
Yeah,
which you can't put a boat on there for 14 days, take it off, move another boat. You can't do that, 14 days.
per boat or per vessel or per,
14 days per vessel.
but if I have 10 different vessels, can I do 14 days and then take, say the
map-
seaway off and
The map
put the,
it doesn't work either way. You can't-
I know, but
Yeah, no,
Do you have any debt?
I do not have any debt on the business.
So how are you financing it?
What?
How are you financing the business?
I pay cash for everything.
And you'll have no room for growth. Can you handle?
Yeah, there's no more room on the docks left. I'd have about 130 feet worth of dock space that I rent from Gloucester House, and it's all used up. I had, last year I had a boat on the hard because I didn't have a spot to put it. And it was a spare boat. If something broke, I'd put that one in and
Right,
use it, but I'd like to rent it instead of just having it on a trailer.
You can break even at this number without growth in the future?
Oh, yeah, I'm making money now. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years. When I was able to make enough money to buy all the boats, cash, I started one boat, pretty much added a boat every year. And then once I started getting better boats, I started selling some of the older boats, and then, it got to the point where I've bought all older hulls and I've repowered them all with brand new Honda. So they're very reliable boats and
Do you have any thoughts about competitors opening up in wine space, because you have space?
there is a competitor in town, not Freedom, Carefree Boating moved into East Gloucester last summer. I have no clue how they did. It's more of a club than it is a daily rental. So you have to be a member to be part of it, but it's the closest thing to a boat rental that's coming to Gloucester other than myself.
But I'm thinking about somebody else wants to set up a business like yours. Your precedence would entitle them to moorings.
The what?
Your precedent, you're setting a precedent, right? Nobody's ever done this before.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So every time we do it for you, why shouldn't we be doing it for everybody?
Oh, I
Who
think
has
you
a
should.
business?
If someone else wants a commercial mooring, I think they have the right, if they have a commercial business, to get a mooring. I mean, that's why I'm kind of doing this. So it's like, I'm sure there's plenty of lobstermen that would rather put their boat on a mooring than to have to pay dock fee year round. So I'm assuming there'll be lobstermen. I mean, I'm assuming there'll be fishing boats that want them. It's like, I can't, I mean, I find it hard to believe that no one's come to you guys asking for commercial moorings before now.
No,
They have, but they fish.
Yeah, but, I mean, if it's a commercial business, I feel like. You'd
do you
be,
guys, the guys that
capable.
said there, Manchester has commercial, who else has commercial out
Rockport.
there? Rockport
Rockport.
has commercial,
And they're all commercial fishermen.
right? Do you
And
know how
they're-
they run it? Is it different
They were
fees?
established in the beginning.
Right, but is it different fees than personal moorings? Is it?
They have a percentage of the amount of moorings that they have.
Uh-huh,
I don't know what their fee structure is, but
right,
And
I mean,
Manchester.
it was all, because Rockport nor Manchester has the dockage.
right,
So that's why Rockport Harbor's all lobster boats, Pigeon Cove, the Stone Pier and Manchester, inner and outer are all full of lobster boats. That's why they set up their commercial. Gloucester did not when they created this ordinance, and the ordinance, it would be an ordinance change. It would not. be
right.
to-
It would have to go
it would
all the way
not-
through the city and all the way
Yeah.
through
Manchester
a
has.
subcommittee and then all the way
I
through
think
city
3
council.
Manchester Marine, I think it's 3 moorings. But that's their, otherwise, it's
Those
just
are transit.
historic and it's just used to allow them to conduct a business. And it's very different than what you discussed. I
Very
don't know
difficult
that-
thing to start.
But
This late.
Well, I mean,
this late in
it
the
would,
game.
the way that the city, with the way it takes to get things through the city is the. Cause it would have to go all the way through as an ordinance change, right? To create another,
Mhm.
personal transient,
Right, all
and
lobster
then-
boats that are on moorings in Gloucester are on personal moorings.
right?
So, Mike, Bob, your objectives, right now you have, what, 7 or you have like 8 boats maybe?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, looks like.
9 boats. So,
And then I have a fuel boat too.
you what?
A fuel boat that I keep on the dock that has a 125 gallon tank in it that I use to fuel the boats instead of taking every boat over in the afternoon to get gas.
So in regards to your business plan, your objective also like going out 1 to, let's say, 5 years, you're looking at adding approximately how many boats per year or?
I mean, I don't wanna get much bigger, but I'd like to have, like I signed up for the 4 moorings, so I do have room to grow.
Well, I'm just curious, like.
I have a son that, he's got interest in taking the business over once I'm done with it. So,
But you told me you didn't vision growth.
oh yeah,
And I answered the same question.
maybe, I'm sorry if I didn't understand you.
Yeah, I know, yeah,
Oh,
so in terms of your business plan, just looking out, so right now you're asking, or you're not, let's say you need, ideally.
How many,
4 moorings,
well, that's what I would,
over 5 years, over the next year,
well, there's 2 boats right now that I'd like to get onto moorings that I don't have room for. And then that would, if I got 4, that'd give me 2 more to grow. And like I said, I had 1 on the hard, so realistically I could use 3 moorings this year. And then I'd almost be to the point where I'm completely filled up again. I'll be out of space again.
So would you be rotating, can I ask? Would you be rotating them around like from the dock?
It all
space to the-
depends on the situation. Say like,
You have to-
the stripers going out. And I have like whatever, 4 boats going out. I know what boats they are. I'll put those boats on the dock and I'll leave the extra on the
Yeah,
mooring
so-
because there's no point to, take someone out to the,
Right, because if.
to the mooring if they're
moorings
on a
are-
power boat, they can just take
independent.
off from the dock.
Right, if they're independent per boat, they are.
Well, that's why I was hoping to get a commercial, so it'd be,
That would also
I'd be able to
that would be
use it.
independent per.
So only one boat, because I was thinking,
Right.
if I were you, then you'd want to rotate, okay, these people just want to climb on the boat from, the dock, they can't shut, they need to be right here. So you were gonna be trying to rotate these
Well,
around.
if I started growing, I don't have any more dock space, then I would bring the boats that were gonna be rented out for the day into the dock. First thing, the ones that were gonna get used in the morning, I'd have them ready to go, and then
You'd
once
still
they
moor,
left,
yeah.
I would go and get
Still
the other
moor.
boats and bring them in.
That's-
If I may, Madam Chair,
Yep,
you would still have to be because, this is not just for his business. You're not creating this for his business. Let's make that perfectly clear. This is not
Right.
something that can be carved out just for you.
Right,
So you would have to make sure that it, just like the personal moorings, it has to be per boat. It has to be that registered boat has to be on that mooring,
right.
period. There is transient moorings because they're 14 days, and in work situations. Where like Beacon Marine, they have to take boats from their dock because they're working on the dock and they put them out there. They juggle stuff around. But it would be specifically for one, it wouldn't fit your juggling.
well, I mean, I could
And the
I
fueling-
could make
the
it
fueling
work
of-
if that was the
fueling of
situation, if
boats
I
would
was
not
only
be
allowed one boat on the mooring.
Yeah.
I would make it
Mention
work
that.
that way, but it wouldn't be a deal closer for me, but it would probably be
But
easier
it
if I
can't be
could
done right now.
put the different boats on the
I
mooring,
mean, it's
but
a real problem precedent. I mean, if you do it, we have to give it to other people, same.
So
Exactly.
there was a conversation about where could a commercial mooring field go, but I think this probably goes, this would be research to your subcommittee. Just to say, how are other communities doing it,
Right.
working with Chris on even, is there a place? And how many, we could end up with another mooring list that goes,
Right.
150
Right.
deep and nobody, and everybody's complaining that the mooring list isn't moving up. Because now you have commercial moorings that have the same long list that personal moorings do. So, but I think it goes, to your subcommittee.
Right.
And then, if there is any sort of solution, but, it's it goes from here, the Waterways Board, to city council, to a subcommittee, back to city council, and then a vote. I mean, it would be impossible
Public
for it to
hearing.
even go this summer,
yeah, well,
Okay.
next summer's better than no summer, you know
Get us
what I
some
mean?
summer.
It's like,
It's a very steep, just to warn you, it's a
I know,
very
I
steep
was
hill
trying
to
to give you
climb.
a
I would
that's
not,
why
I wouldn't be
in.
investing with this in your business plan. If you
Right.
want my
No,
honest
it's-
No,
opinion.
but this is why I came in,
Right. No,
3 or
that's
4 months ago to try to get the ball rolling,
right.
And
And it's not like we haven't had conversations about it,
And I'm assuming it's more of a paper thing than it is an actual space thing. I mean, there's
No, it
plenty of
is.
space out there for
Well,
moorings.
Space, we have 200 people on the waiting list.
Yeah,
It's the space.
Does anybody have any other questions?
I mean, are you guys gonna open up Southeast Harbor more like they said they were gonna?
Yeah. I
couple
mean,
years ago?
You've moved 13 spots.
Well, I know, but
Yeah, so I
but
mean,
were you gonna
we can only do so
issue
many.
more moorings for the area, or is
There
it?
are a few more being issued, there's
Yeah.
some old ones being reissued. We have a constraint, we need to leave certain spaces, a certain amount of space between each mooring. It's an agreement we have with fisheries. So we have to leave, we can't fill that whole thing up and have no place for the lobster boats to fish.
Yeah,
So there are moorings, they are moving. Unfortunately, it's a long process.
yeah,
Just to get rid of, it took us a couple months to get rid of the 13 moorings.
It's also safe haven for gear during hurricanes.
Yes,
That's not,
yeah, it's
it's
part
not,
of that. Yeah,
it's not
part of
just
that
for
whole
fishing,
agreement.
it's also safe haven for the gear.
yeah.
Madam Chair,
Yeah,
I think it's good that he brought this before the board, but I think it's a bigger picture issue. As Councilor Gross said, this has been an ordinance that's been established for a lot of years. There are 2,800 people currently on a waiting list, and I just think it's a bigger picture. It's great that he brought this in for us to think about, but it certainly isn't something that we should be catering to one business or trying to design around one business. I think it's a bigger picture.
right. Oh, it definitely is. It's a whole another classification of moorings that we don't currently have. anywhere in anything, so.
And I'm not trying to get any special privilege
No,
here.
no, no.
You
no,
know,
we
I just,
understand.
I'm just trying to run a business and bring people in town to, you know,
Yep.
help the town out too. And obviously help myself out too in my business.
But you're gonna be asking for parking places on Main Street for your business.
Well, there's a dirt parking lot and then you got the town parking lot across the bank. There's
No, I'm
plenty
just
of-
saying that the concept isn't just on the water, it's also in general, taking up publicly available boats or park spaces or whatever.
They pay for
Well,
that.
yeah, the town's
No, no,
making
I
money for
said that
the
it's-
parking spaces
I
and
mean,
But they get to rent them for the hour or whatever. It's whatever, if you're taking some space of value, whether it's on the water, on the land, commercial purposes. And to not allow other people to use it, you have to have a permit. And there are very, very few of those. You know, you have to think in terms of land uses as well as, I mean, it's a
well,
concept,
that's what the parking lots are there
I don't
for, to
see-
bring
I
people
don't
in,
see
right?
it
Yeah.
being an issue.
but you have to.
Wait, well,
No,
I
he's saying
think
that they're
the conversation
And that's
goes
existing, that's not gonna change.
Yeah,
whether
but
it's
No,
on the
this
water
is
or
limits
not.
amount
One
of
at a
parking
time, one at a
spaces
time
and
for
having
Leslie,
parking
please.
spaces reserved for one particular group.
Oh, yeah, but he's not asking. Okay, sorry, that's a different.
Yeah,
Are you okay with taking up the conversation? Okay,
Sure.
So we refer to,
Sure.
Tony, we vote to refer it down, right?
yeah, you can vote to refer it out, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna vote to refer the matter of a new entity called Commercial Moorings down to subcommittee.
Yeah.
Anybody want to second that? All right, so, yeah, and hopefully Leslie, she had a hard time transcribing the last minute, so. John, are you okay with, this motion to refer to subcommittee?
Yes.
Yes.
Both Johns. Brian?
Yes.
Yes.
Bob? Phil?
Yes.
Karen? Yes. Donna, yes? Peter?
Yes.
And co-
All right, well,
All right,
thank you.
we're
gonna
I
carry
it on.
appreciate the help and,
Yeah,
tell
I'll
him.
just be in touch with Chris to kind of see what's going on in the next couple months and hopefully.
And he's
we'll,
not official yet.
Oh, he's
No,
not.
no, he's,
Oh,
February 15th.
Respect your enthusiasm.
He knows.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Gotta start
thanks a lot.
somewhere.
Have a good evening.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Which subcommittee is this going to?
right.
Of
Public
facilities.
facilities,
Oh, okay.
yep.
We get to discuss it or is it closed?
Well,
Right now, you're moving on. You're good.
yeah, we're doing it.
I think that's.
I don't see how there's, you know,
It's
Yeah.
a-
it's
I
a
don't
big
see how.
issue,
it's a huge,
but you know, maybe it's just
Well,
a-
moving boats around is the biggest problem.
seeing
You
what
can't do that.
other communities
Yeah,
are
that's
doing
your
around.
sign.
Well,
It's
just
certainly
creating
pretty
a
efficient, it would look
commercial
good.
in commercial mooring, you know, so
That boat
You're
down
gonna have a
there.
lot of interest.
of its own is going to be, you
And there are
know.
gonna be tons of interest, right? So if there's 5 mooring involved, there's gonna be like, how many people?
There's kids gonna come along and say, I wanna grow a business, right?
Okay, so the Harbor Masters report is next on the list and it does include a bunch of stuff, so we'll go to there.
I'm gonna turn it over to Peter first.
Okay, great, yep.
He's gonna talk a little bit about a study you did.
So we were very lucky, thanks Tony for giving us the knowledge of getting stuff from Dakwa. But it was a bit of a fight, I mean, it took about 4 or 5 phone calls. Planes that put it gave us anything we could use, but they finally gave us a full dump. So we could put it on into Excel and manipulate it, and it was interesting when we did that. So you all have copies of it, I assume that hasn't been read, so I can walk through it quickly, or do we want to write to some questions? Did you all just get this now, or?
Yeah, they just started at the beginning of the meeting.
Yep.
So basically, let's run through it then. Basically. Anyway, basically, we went to Dakwa and downloaded their data for this year and are thinking now, so it took the time, it would have taken us months to rebuild the data ourselves from our own materials. We were able to turn this thing around. I think it probably took me 3-4 days to do it. Now that we have the structure set up, we can download, you know, previous years and get a scope of the whole business. And the one thing that I feel like that we are a business just like what he's asking for. And we were tied to the city, we're owned by the city, but we're running a business and looking at it from that way, it gives us a lot of perspective of what we can do, what we can't do. So basically, we're pulling down around $107,000 a year gross on all the moorings. And we have a total of all right, put this in order, but at $65 a night. And the question is to go up to 70, which would bring it up to about $115,000 a night if we did it across the board. So-
Gross.
Gross, all gross. We don't have, so go get to the next big project we have is to work out the net value to us. Because that's gonna take us up to month or so, do that. But we currently have about 948 vessels for rent, moorings for rent, and excuse me, night. The big calculation is how long each mooring was used for a night. And so you have to take each boat. You have to have each boat and find out how many days was on the mooring, and then add all that up. And that's turns out to about 50 pages of feedback. But so it comes to there were about 948 vessels over the year that used this. I had a hard time getting that number precise. It could be 946, but it's close. And with all the data came across as confirmed, declined, canceled, and a wait list. And so we just took the confirm, we broke out the confirm people who actually, the boats that actually use the moorings. The decline, cancel, and wait lists are interesting because that gives us a sense of how many. If I get to run those numbers, we'll know how many more moorings we can support. And we don't know, the decline and cancel can be somebody is, maybe waiting out and they want to go out, or maybe they start to skip the harbor, but find out what the upside is. So we have a yield of about 72% of the people who want, the vessels who want to stay here for at least one night. So in 24, the obvious thing is quite, we would expect is that July and August, July's our big month, August is close behind, and nothing else really, June is okay, but nothing else really matters. Basically, we're in a business that does all our business in those July and August. In case you tried to figure that out. So the income distribution per month is July is our biggest month at $35,165. That's 541 nights rented.
And that's up above, that's the 33% of the total. 32.89%, that's 33% of the total numbers down below.
Yeah.
Happen in August, okay,
Yes.
yeah,
It's July and August.
yep, July, yeah,
62%.
July, yeah.
So when you do this, you don't think about boats, think about nights on a mooring. And right now, since we charge the same price for all the boats, everybody, it's, just a question of doing all the math until you can work out nights on mooring. So, so the average renting vessel was 39 feet, which led us to a very interesting realization that the primary vessel, the biggest use vessel, is 40 feet. And I was very surprised about that. Chris said that he'd been aware of that already, but it's 16% of the night moorings. Mooring is close 40 feet and up. And the 36% was down, which is the number that I thought would be the high number, is only 8%. It's half the amount of boats. The vessels that we carry go from 19 feet to about 17 feet, for 18 feet, about 17 feet. Just to move to the issue at
Wow,
hand.
so way more sailboats than powerboats.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, we're
Wow,
And we see, because we keep saying that sailboats are the guys who anchor. But they, if you pick the mooring, you're not gonna anchor. I mean, but they are the easiest customers to lose. The powerboats are gonna, they're gonna want a mooring. But the sailboats they can just go 20 feet over from the mooring, drop a hook, they're, they're not tied up. And gonna give them lawn service. So what we came down to is that the real break point right now for us in terms of tiered fees would be at 40 feet. And that would give us first 838 mooring days. Now, I'm very sensitive, well, not just myself, but the two of us were very sensitive about scaring away business, because we want to get up the yield higher. It's, the yield is now 72%. If we can have, ideally, we would have the yield at 99%. You always want to turn somebody away just to note that you fill the working capacity. But so we took ran the numbers at breakpoint of $75 at boats over 40 feet, thinking that A, they are the most likely not to want to anchor, and B, they're the most likely to not worry about the money. We're thinking that they gonna have more money. And it's also, I think that, the boat moorings I've picked up over the years, that was sort of what their break point was. So it's a good place to start. If a year later, we want to go down to 36 or put in a, middle size and move 40 up to 80 and take 36 and up to 75, that would be another way of doing it. But I would want to do both the same year, just going to be chaos on the water. And it's, keep thinking it's a business. And if we screw it up, it's like any other business. We're gonna lose it. It's really a nice business. And we have to treat it a little differently than we treat things that are run by the city. Not that I have anything against that, but it's just different. Thinking has to be more precise. So using the breakpoint at 40 would add additional $8,308 in gross revenues based on the 24. I'm very interested to see how 23 was and whether 24 was a peak or was flat or maybe it was lower. But right now, all we have is 24. The 36-foot break point would add 225 vessel days or 16,875 for rentals, but we don't have a price tier set for that. So that would be just moving everything down to $70.
Peter, can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Did this get emailed to John and John by any chance? Because I didn't get this ahead of time, so.
No, we didn't, no, there was no email, just the.
Okay, all right. Sorry, John. We'll get this to you right afterwards.
I realize
Yeah,
I'm
John.
going through this quickly and I hadn't rehearsed the short version of it.
No, that's all right. Can I ask you one more question?
I have lots of answers.
The 72% number is 72% of the available days? What's the,
Where are you looking?
First page.
72% is the total of it. It's the nights on moorings.
oh, so
Everything's nights on moorings.
72% of what?
1,321.
Okay,
Of the-
1,300.
Yeah. of
So
the-
what's your yield?
Yeah,
Oh, so, okay, so 1,321 people signed on to DocWhat to look for a mooring.
No,
And
I see.
72% of them booked a mooring.
Right, so just to add on, if I could add on
Gotcha.
to
Okay,
that,
yep.
you know, the difference is if someone's is on dock when they're planning to come to Gloucester. I mean, things could happen like personal
Yeah,
injury,
yeah.
Death in the family, the weather,
But they can
equipment
also-
failure, and that's the
Change of
yield.
plan.
Change, but that's the yield between 1321 and
It's all
93.
depends on the weather, so if you're coming up
There's
from,
there's 100 things it could.
yeah, if you're coming up from the big market that I see.
You
is
drank
co-
too much tonight for.
Coming up from the canal is our big boat market,
Guilty.
and small boat market is just,
No.
but we're not a great cruising area. You know, you go down to south of the canal, it's a very different kind of cruising area. And the next really interesting cruising area is when you get up past Portland. But otherwise, it's not a lot of places to go.
We have less fog.
This was just.
What?
Russian.
We have less fog.
We less
do,
fog.
Yeah. Yeah, I would argue
I
that
took
point,
pictures
but
of them
it's
emailing.
different. I mean, I,
But I mean, if you're gonna go, if you're a sailor, which I have been most of my life, now I'm a powerboat owner. You wanna have little places you can go to 3-4 hours. So you get ice cream in Marblehead but that's, you know, you can go around to Sin Bay. But there's not a lot of quick stuff that you can do using this as a base. Not a lot of day tripping off of our base. If you go up to a big yard like this, you're just north of Portland, was it Andes? He's about 1,000 moorings. And you can leave a mooring there a month and every day go out to another spot in Casco Bay and come back. Sure. It's a day tripping area. We're not a day tripping area. We're more of a people on a trip to our big market is folks going up the coast.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can you explain the 71,000 increased revenue? Is that right? That's a big
Right.
number.
Surely.
At the very last of your report,
Well, that's the whole,
I'm just trying to find it. $71,000 increased revenue by changing this. price?
if you put,
You know what you mean, 7,000?
no, if you had the break point at 36,
That would make an extra $71,000?
yeah.
So
A lot of
last,
us.
in last discussion around, tiering the fees, we
Yeah.
were, up to a certain length would be this much, and then at this length. it's
Right,
this
you're
much,
saying
and then like-
75, lower the 75 down to 36, right? It seemed like a big
Yes.
number, though.
It is a big number.
That's a bigger number by raising it 10
Well,
bucks.
it's different. The delta is 54, the 71 minus 54. So the gain is 6875 from the 40 and up.
I'm just saying, if we did 106,000 total in 2024, and you're gonna raise the price $10 on, we can get 70, I gotta do the math. Thank you. So if it's 71,000 extra just by raising it $10 more for 36 and up,
You only collected last year, $66,000 in FY
I mean,
24.
what's gross?
Yeah, FY 24, you only collected $66,000. So
What
how are
year
you
is
gonna
that?
get an increase of 7?
that's why I'm,
No, but
No,
the fiscal
it's,
year is splits,
Yeah.
the fiscal year splits the summer in half,
I'm looking at 24, FY 24. We're in FY 25 now.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at a closed year. It was $66,228.82. I don't know where the 80 cents came from, but
you have 106,925.
total.
But for 2024 gross income, 106,925.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see that.
That's not income.
See the nights, it's how many nights?
Yes.
1,000.
yeah, that's not what,
My
Listen,
question
that
is
isn't
that
like-
that seems like a huge percentage to raise
That's the
$10.
number I got from, that's the number that I got from.
Right from Doc, these are numbers from Doc.
These are not.
No, that number's our number.
so in 2023, it was 100,215.
That's the number that I got from Chris.
Is that the number you have, 100,215?
For 2024, or three.
What are you reading? Are you reading
He
this?
doesn't
I'm
have
reading the budget.
2023.
Oh, we're just reading this report. that-
I'm reading the actual budget.
Oh, right. Oh,
It's a lot of numbers.
You're tapped in.
We went over, we spent several hours, two of us going over these numbers.
yeah, I was just
Make sure
questioning the
they're right.
$71,000 for raising it
Well, I'm saying,
$10.
but you're not, the raise, that's the $16,000, $470 raise from going from, excuse
You-
me,
you-
16,875 adding the 36 foot
Wait,
to the
you-
tier level of,
You're adding that to it's. In 2024, it was 1,645 nights
Rented.
rented, so
It's all
you're adding
nights.
you're adding
All
that increase to that, and that's how you're coming
Yeah.
up with the 71,000.
Yeah. the only measure you have, so there are boats that say 22 nights on there.
Sure.
And you always have, it was very hard to pick out, there were some numbers that we got from DocWise that didn't make sense. So there's a certain level of, I thought it was about a 0.2% error rate, but it's probably a little more than that. Based on just the way the numbers are stuff collected. And I had a lot of for some reason, the DocWise data had every so often would have like an 8-figure number with a decimal point, something like that. So I had to play around, but these are pretty accurate numbers. And we went over it over and over again. I do have all the raw data. And if anybody wanted to play with it, I can give it to you in a way that's useful, but it's,
Can I ask, I'm gonna ask you a question. So 1,645 nights on moorings were actually
Yeah,
rented.
no, I agree.
yes,
Do we know the number of potential actual nights on moorings?
yes,
Like-
it's the delta on the. So our yield rate is
72.
72. So there's another 38%.
Right, so we don't know, like, some of
28%.
those might have been rainy days or something, yeah, and then.
No, that's just days that people didn't want to use our moorings.
No, but she's right.
Yeah, it could be any reason.
Your
So I'm just
your
gonna-
muffler.
I'm gonna do
your,
a
It could be,
point on that.
It could be Ramadan, we don't know,
Midweek.
it's.
We're not at capacity.
I'm gonna do
No,
a
not
point on this. So, the finance committee had gone over this and recommended a tiered situation for transient mooring fees. At the last meeting, we voted to just increase the nightly fee from $65 to $70.
Yes,
That has not been voted on by city council yet.
no. So I'm saying we want to add, there was a movement to add. Put a tier in there, and if we're done with this data crunch earlier than we thought, so we can still get it before city council. And if we want to break it at 40, which is what I see is the natural break point. So getting it up to 100 is be very, 100% gonna be impossible. And we don't, it's because but you want to see us a little higher than that. But I don't, I don't have any idea why people don't use it. I could dig into this, these decline, canceled, and wait lists.
So
stuff,
Peter,
but-
having looked at the data,
Yeah.
right? You know it backwards and forwards.
Tell me
Tell me what would make sense in your mind for a tiered fee structure.
We're speaking as a couple.
Okay, you're a couple.
A couple of what?
So we're comfortable with $40, $5.
40,
Say that again.
40
Going from
foot,
65, what was the number?
We currently have voted to make it a straight across the board, $70 a night
Right.
rather than $65
But I
a
was
night.
responding to others in the group who wanted to have a
Right.
tier. And I'm saying if we want to do a tier this year, because we have the option now, we have little time flex in here. And we can actually make a tier
Right,
this
right,
year.
that's what I'm asking.
And we were suggesting that the tier would be at 75, at 40 feet at $75.
Okay,
And the average boater, smaller the voters would get 65.
all right.
so no
Hang on.
increase.
Go ahead,
No
Tony,
increase.
you're-
So
Yes, it is an increase.
would you withdraw
We
this?
would have to withdraw the prior
Because this is
vote.
already,
It's already at.
it's already there.
Right,
It's gonna be Thursday night, we're gonna be discussing it.
right.
But you do it it's done every month, right?
Well, you have to go through the process. You're not gonna have your vote. I mean, you're obviously not gonna do it tonight, right? A tiered vote.
That's the question at hand.
Well, I thought you were one of the people in favor of having tiered.
No, I wasn't. I was.
So the
silent on it.
idea-
Oh, one at
Okay,
a
good.
time, yeah.
All right.
Go ahead, you go first. Go ahead.
Who's up?
So
Brian?
who was in favor? I think it was.
Wait a minute. Brian, do you have something?
No,
Okay,
I do.
Bob,
I just. So we are looking at raising the nightly transient fee from 65 to 70.
We already did,
We already
yeah.
did that.
So now we're looking at the possibility of pursuant to your calculations of vessels that are 40 feet or higher to charge them 75 a night.
Yeah. So the number last year was, what was last year's number? It was 60.
It was 65.
All right. So we're talking about taking that up to 70 and taking the same amount up in the 40s.
40, no, from raising 40 below from 65 to 70, 40 above from 70 to 75.
Right, just $5. It's the
Right.
same.
I'm gonna ask a question, Tony, because I didn't see it go through, I didn't,
It was on the
from
20,
last night,
no,
subcommittee.
subcommittee, that was O and A,
It,
B and F.
right, it already went through.
I mean, I got referred to B and F.
Right,
me,
no, I know that, but I didn't know, BNF didn't
me go-
meet yet.
No, we meet Thursday night, but you could also put in a second order saying that we want to go boat 40 feet or 41 feet and above.
No, 40 feet and above,
40 feet and above, you're
Yeah.
gonna cut it off at 40.
40 feet. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, usually you do it the other way, but
We give them
you start at
39
1
feet.
instead of 0. But you can do that.
No, that's different.
No, I'm talking to Donna right now.
One at a time, please, one at a time.
You could do that by putting in another fee.
Right, but that would have to go to the mayor's report, then through and then through, so I think,
So you're,
right,
you know, you're at least, mayor's report, I think today,
yeah, it was the cutoff today,
Yeah.
yeah.
so.
I think that,
So we have,
Maybe
yeah, go ahead, Brian,
I
yeah.
think the 70 kind of covers it all. I mean, I think pushing the easy button, we've already gone through this thing.
Yeah.
For this year, it seems like 70 will cover some lower boats, because I kind of like the other, what we talked about, like up to 30, go to 70, 31 to 45, 75, 45 above. You didn't have any 40 above, but.
So we have a
I'm
couple
thinking
of other fee, hang on one second, we have a couple of other fee votes that would kick in. Not for this coming voting season, but for the following voting
Well,
season.
we can do whatever you want.
So, I mean, we could add this onto that list to go through for the next round of city council.
Can I just make one?
Yeah.
So you can't count from 41 because it's not an equal, it's not a 1 point difference. 40 is a huge number.
Right.
And it's,
Well, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care where you settle on it.
what?
Doesn't
I
matter.
don't care.
No, I'm saying, I'm just
So-
saying.
I don't care.
Okay, don't care.
Chris and Peter,
It's
an important number is
difference
the
of counting.
charging
Difference
boats
on-
out of 40.
Just dollars.
Increasing the fee from the number of boats that are 40 feet and greater that come to this harbor via Dockland. How much additional increase in income would that be? What's the additional increase in income? If you tear it,
It's right down.
8380.
8380?
That's for doing that, but if you just say 164 out or 1,600 from 45 nights times 10 is 16,000. And we would definitely, just $10 more, 70 across the board. Seems like a good number, right? That's 16,000 increase. That's what we. voted
Going
on,
back to
right?
what I said before, that's what prompted this whole study that we did. Is I was afraid if we went up to a 30-foot boat at one price, if we went up to $70 for a 30-foot boat, went up $5 for another 15 feet, $5 again, and we kept on going, people would drive right by. So they voted on the $70. $70 seems to work. This is showing that 75 could work also by the numbers.
For the bigger
If we,
boat.
for the bigger boat, if we cut it off at 40, instead of having 3 or 4
Three
different
tiers,
tiers.
yeah.
We have one tier. Maybe it's not a good thing for this year, maybe it is.
So
But it's
Well, I
doable,
think that's
it's
what we're
doable.
trying to come
And-
to
and-
is,
and
do
that's
we
what-
want
that's
to
what the
try to push
report-
this
That's what the
through?
report's about, and
So-
I'm on board all day with $70. At that price, I don't think people are gonna drive by. Once you, if you brought it to the 36-foot boat for $75, sailboaters like to drive by or agate.
It's a
So,
comfortable
something we
number.
need to take a good look at, and that's why we did
But
this.
I didn't want to have,
Homework.
I wanted to get it all done before as quickly as possible. So I added the 40 feet and up number.
Yep.
So that I wouldn't go back out.
Well, we certainly
Right.
could use the money, but
Time
we
will
don't want people to
Absolutely,
go away,
absolutely.
right?
We can- I mean, we can make more money by charging more money, but if we have less
Yeah.
moorings rented,
Right,
we did not.
But I was more concerned with the discussion. I felt that there was a tier, it moved, some of us wanted to do a tiered system.
yes,
So this is.
the
tiered
finance
system
committee actually
that
voted
we
on
can
it.
do quickly, get into this year's numbers. But if we don't, I mean, we don't.
Well, I'm gonna refer, I mean, we certainly as a board could, pull it back. It's gonna take one extra month and add another tier in there. But I'm gonna defer to the harbor master on, are we comfortable just with, the vote we took, or do we wanna get a tiered system in there for this
I think we
season?
should.
You can move
know,
forward with this. Sorry,
Yes.
sorry, you could move forward with this. This can get voted on, and then you can come in later
But Chris, you make a good point too.
with,
Just,
because it's a separate, you're creating a whole separate category.
I mean, we can go forward with it, like you said, or we can, hold off for a year. We can crunch some more numbers, we can do surveys with voters that are coming in. We can do 5-question surveys, see what they think, what their input is. I mean, there's things that we can do to, the public's input, to the voters' input. Do we do it now, do we do it later?
but
It's inevitable, I mean,
Go ahead, Bob.
Chris, you mentioned a couple times that I think that you would prefer that we just leave it at 70. I'm
I like
asking you
the
as a
idea
harbor
of
master.
70. I do.
Because
We
can I
do
add
need
on
the
to
re-
that?
we do need the revenue. We do
Okay.
need the revenue,
I like.
but I just don't wanna see us raise it and take ourselves out of the game.
So I agree with you, and I just wanna say, but this was great, both of you, because now, we have something to sink our teeth in. The difference is $8,000, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about, additional $8,000. This year, we may want to gross, this year we may want to forego it, but the information, the data is really, you drove some stakes into the ground that now we have. This is great, so next year, I think we should do it. This year, we've been on an upward path, and things are going, more and more people are coming. Let's give it one more year, next year, head on.
Just to give a little color to it, we were both very surprised at the 40 break point. We thought that 36 would be the break point, where you had a lot more boats. Surprised at how many big boats come in here. And there were a lot more than we expected.
It's what John McCarthy's been saying all along, that the big boats are really where the thing is.
Right.
John, I emailed and texted the pictures, just photographs of the material we're looking at.
You sent it to me?
I saw it.
Oh, great, sorry, we didn't have that ahead of the meeting.
That's okay. If I might just speak for a second,
Go ahead, yep.
I kind of agree with Bobby that maybe this should go to finance committee for the big package of what we're going to put forward for next year. And I agree with, I think Councilor Gross last meeting said that the sooner the better to get that in there. It can go in as a separate package. And it's doing it in increments, and that might be better with your concern, Chris. However, I honestly have owned a 40-foot boat, and $5 a night would never change my mind whether I'm gonna stop or not, so.
Right.
I think if everybody's in, I mean, we've already voted it up to $5, and I know we're going to be looking at from the finance committee, a package to send back to the full committee with some suggestions for next year's rates, so I maybe make a motion that we include that and forward that back to the finance committee.
Jim's got something.
I just want to say, again, from my experience, and I'm coming up on 9 years being retired now. To have only gone up $15 in 9 years is very reasonable,
Yeah.
if not a little low. But just as John said, look at next year, and Bob said, look at next year to increase it even more if you want. And I agree with John. It's not going to change people's minds.
So,
With what you offer now compared to what I had.
so
back
let me
then,
just-
and-
$25.
Pardon me?
Wasn't it $25?
Initially, no, but when I retired, it was 50. But now that you have this facility, you have the launches.
Yeah.
We didn't have that all, back.
We had the launches, but we didn't
We had
have.
the one launch.
But
yes.
remember, so we know this, Chris and I have a real sense of how this whole system works. And the one thing, data we don't have is the data that what our competitors are gonna charge. Now, if we get a big step up in our competitors next year, then we can look for a bigger mooring. If our competitors go down, or stay the same, we have to think twice about it. But the big discovery was where the big break point was, the big boat break point. And we have enough data now to actually, we can knock one of these studies. This took quite a while, but we can knock them off now in a day. Because we just have the whole structure of how you do the search.
Thank you.
And that was, so we have a real feeling for the business.
Yeah.
Once we get the gross worked out, the net worked out, we'll know what we're really making on this thing. Because these numbers are only, Chris's feeling is that it's not gonna be a big number deducted, but until we have the net number, we really don't know the meaning, how much it means to us.
John McCarthy.
Yes,
So in the finance committee meeting, we voted on a tiered structure. Do you want it to go back down to finance? So what I think I'm hearing Peter saying is we kind of wait and see what other communities do about raising their fees this year. And then maybe tier ours in conjunction with that for next season.
yes,
Because-
I think my suggestion would be that we take
Okay.
Peter's data, refer it back to the finance committee and let them come in with a total package for the following year, not this year. I think unless Tony said we could get an amendment in, which I think it's too late, Tony, to amend it.
Well, I wouldn't amend this one, but John, you can put it, because it's a separate category, it's almost like it's its own thing.
No, I understand that. I know you got it coming up with budget and finance. I didn't know whether it was allowed to be amended.
I wouldn't
before-
amend, I would start the process over again with that $5 increase with the 40-foot category.
Okay,
So you can do that this year too. But I wouldn't amend, it'd be a little bit much, because the public hearing is gonna have the language already in it that doesn't reflect that, so it'd be hard to.
okay. I kind of agree that we just, put it in with the whole package of what we're raising for next year. That would be my suggestion. That's just my
Right.
opinion.
Okay, so do you want to make a motion to send that to subcommittee?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we take the data that our harbor master and Peter has put together, send it back to the finance committee for further consideration in submitting a tiered structure for the following year.
Second.
So we have a motion on the table from John to refer this matter to finance subcommittee, seconded by Bob. Any other discussion? Roll call vote. Peter,
Aye.
Brian,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Phil,
Yes.
Karen? Yes. Donna? Me, yes. I forgot to answer myself. John McCarthy
Yes,
and John.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
So before we circulate this, if we voted on the $70, that should be the $70 number, we should deduct the other concepts from this document.
Right, that will only go to subcommittee,
Okay.
and we would have you come and talk about the numbers again, Peter, that's,
I wanted to have the 40 was there, the upgrade for the 40
Right.
was there just so that we knew what the next step would be.
right.
If we can forecast now.
Yeah. And I think we'll also get squared away on what the actual fiscal year 24 numbers, since there's a discrepancy between what you guys saw and what's in the budget, we should get that squared away too, so we know the actual numbers we're dealing with.
Yeah, did you get yours from?
What was that
Connor?
number you had?
I just
Maybe
pulled it, I
afterwards.
pulled it up from the website. So if you got something different from Connor,
Yeah, I just have a couple of notes there, and I was just curious.
So we also, the other fee that, finance committee voted on, John, was the storage rack fees, but I think what we could do is just waylay that vote, for when this comes back to the full board.
no. One thing
I think I did.
I discovered about the fees.
I do that all the time.
I'm pretty sure that this is what I heard from Kenny,
goes up.
was that the budget that you're gonna build this year is gonna be about the fees that you're charging next year.
Right,
So you wanna know for your budget forecast now, if you're gonna raise your rack fees, now's the time. Gonna raise your mooring fees, now's the time.
right.
So you can forecast your budget with that number.
Well, I'm gonna hope that we get this down to subcommittee and then back up, before the March meeting so that they can go through that.
Yeah, because April, you guys will be gonna ask for your budget.
Right, yeah. So we did have on the schedule tonight a vote on increasing the kayak rack fee, but I think we'll just put that in one package with this after it comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can bundle them all together. It's saves money for the city because they have to put public hearing posting in the paper. And the more they get in one posting, if they have to do it piecemeal, they're expensive.
Right. So we are still in section 4, which is the harbor master's report. What else do you have, Chris?
We're gonna talk about St. Peter's a little bit.
Yep,
So myself and Dave Smith from UGTA and Mike Hale are looking at St. Peter's design, permitting with some money from an old grant that needs to be used up. Kind of designing it. No, we don't know where the money's coming from yet. That's a big thing, but we need to move forward. We need to move forward with design and permitting to use that money so we can stay in
How much
compliance.
is that money?
What's that?
How much money
Not
is that
much,
money?
not much money. So we need to use it and get some permitting and design in the works. And we have to figure out where this money's coming from.
Was that
So
only
we
for
would
St.
use-
Peters?
That's
Sorry.
only for St. Peter's.
so we would use that money just for the design and permitting work.
Yes, yes,
And then we
it's-
figure out how to come up with the money for the work.
Right,
Gotcha,
right, yeah,
okay.
right, and they need to do that to stay in compliance,
Yeah.
with that grant. No idea where the money's gonna come. I don't think anybody knows where the money's gonna come from, or if it's gonna come from anywhere. We're looking into some seaport grants, and some other places. That's all I really know about that. I4C2, we'd like to do a little bit of work so people don't fall and get hurt. I mean, it's great, you get a lot of people that walk through there. I'm just afraid somebody's gonna get hurt. Go ahead.
On the pier or on the docks?
On the pier, to start. We have one of the tenants that
That's not the cities.
it is the cities though. It is, the lots of cities, and I don't know the date, but that was turned over from the GRA to the Waterways Board to control with a
Sure it was.
small account. I have the paperwork. I dug and dug and dug, and I found it, and
Don't ask me a year. I forget what year.
it was eighties. I think it was either 85 or 92, somewhere in there. Was it later?
No, it was later.
Was it later? Was it in the 90s?
No, I think it was in 2000s.
Was it?
When
I
did
looked
we
through so
get
many
it?
paperwork.
When did
so
they-
much
when did we
One
paperwork.
at a time.
Well, you have the memo.
One thing, so I believe we need to do some work down at I4C2. We did a lot of, you guys did a lot of site visits. We got a lot of feedback. There are certain things that we have to do down there that we should get some things down there, aside from the pier. So I think if we can we had a bunch of numbers, and John, maybe you can help with this, Diver John. That's what I'm gonna call you from now on, Diver John. Is the the things that would be high impact, you know, the twisting of the, you guys know better than I do. Like what would, you know, be the first things on the list to actually repair the pier and then a couple of fingers or, and let's get a number for the next meeting and let's find a little bit of money to throw down there for I-4C2.
I actually texted with Chris Ryder for Bellingham today, and he has promised me once again for probably the third time that he would have numbers for us tomorrow.
If you can get those numbers, if you just respond all on that, on the, one of the Waterways Board email strings, you just send it to everybody. And I think, you know, we are in a, you know, we have a budget issue, but we've set a sort of expectation down there with the tenants that we're going to do something. And I think it's important that we do. That's my own personal opinion.
Yeah,
Something that we have to do.
Yeah, no, great.
That's what I had just as a note.
What else? So can you,
so-
you can work with John on
Yeah,
maybe
so,
putting.
yeah,
a
so my
priority list
opinion
down,
is
yeah.
priority is the pier above. Down below, there's no trespassing sign, it's the tenants, not that their safety is any different than anybody else, but the top is part of the harbor walk. And there's a lot of tourists and public that walk across there, people don't think so, but it is, it's highly used. And I think we need to take care of that part of it before somebody trips, falls.
So again, and I apologize, we're responsible for the harbor walk,
Yes.
just an I-4C2.
Well, we had St.
Yeah,
Peter's
St.
also,
Peter's.
St. Peter's also.
St. Peter's.
Yes. So I think that's priority. And like I
I
said,
think, and get me if I'm wrong, I think the city's looking to do a, you know, find some money to do a major repair, you know, some of the really big things down at St.
at St.
Peter's.
Peter's.
This grant would kind of start that process. This is the scope of the work. This old grant is to do the plan and permitting. And then it's, you know, a joint effort to try to find grants to do the project. The I-4C2 is stuff that we've been looking at as a board and visiting with the tenants and asking what's going on and looking at the piers and talking to Bellingham. I'm just saying that at some point this spring, we
need to do
could do a
something.
few things down
Yes,
there
we've displaced all the
to
lobstermen
show
and their gear.
some good
So we
faith.
need to move forward with it, even if it's just temporary repairs. And it's expensive. So
Yeah.
one deck board at I-4C2 is $250 for one board.
Because it's really thick.
Yes.
But St. Peter's is in worse condition, really. than-
Yes, but that's in the process. We're looking
Yeah.
to get grants. That's the first one that we want. That's in worse shape. That's the first one that we want.
But easier fixed than I-4C2, because the wood is different.
It's totally different.
John, you have something?
No,
Okay. All right, so we're gonna hope that you get some information from Bellingham and then we'll go from there and hopefully get something in the works for April, May. Yeah.
Has there been any movement
Yes.
on the 36, almost $37,000 that's in the GRA account? For I-4C2?
No. I think
Okay.
that it has to go
I'll-
to council to be accepted.
It to do the transfer, yeah.
Yes.
I'll bring that up tomorrow with the mayor.
Okay.
So the GRA, $36,000.
That would be helpful.
It's 36,824.86.
Yes, exactly.
That would be helpful.
That was part of the transfer of the pier. That was.
The money left over that was in the GRA, but we got 25 grand, I think.
Kenny should have the answers for all that because he's the one that set up the accounts when we took it over. From the
Okay.
very
Yeah, and there's
beginning,
also money in
everything
the stabilization account for
Yes.
St. Peter's.
Yes,
Yep.
there is.
Yeah, so we'll get those numbers together. We'll put the two sides together, what's available and what's the priority list for a couple of things down there. Do you have more?
I have a question about, the crane. Is, everything, is it working condition, is it compliant?
On I-4C2
Yes.
or St. Peter's? St. Peter's crane
Well,
does not
both,
exist.
both.
St. Peter's doesn't exist anymore.
taken down a long time ago.
Yes, I-4C2, the actual hoist part of it is brand new, $15,000 later. The steel beam above may need some work. eventually, but it's
The
all
base needs
working as designed.
reinforcement, I think, right?
What's that?
The base,
The base is it's been fixed.
so it's
The motors-
compliant.
Yeah,
10A.
10A, while we're here, we can talk about it.
Well, the one thing we could do is just refer that to finance subcommittee to come back for the, Chris has been looking at the 10A float permit fees and seeing that as, you know, something that hasn't increased in a very, very long time. So, you can talk to that, or we can just do a referral to the same package for finance.
Whatever you wanna do. So I can
Whatever
tell
you
you
wanna
that two thousand sixteen
Whatever you
was the last time that it was changed.
When?
10A float, 2016, it went from 50 cents a square foot to $1 a square foot with a $400 minimum.
What year is it?
From $50 a year, right?
I think,
I think that's what it was.
I think way
Yes.
back,
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
Same as a dinghy dock.
So it goes along with the theme of just sort of looking at everything
Yeah.
where we might be, I mean, we have a lot of repairs to do, we can use the revenue. So can we have a motion to refer looking at 10A float fees, permit fees to finance?
I make the motion that we look at 10A float permits to finance.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I said whatever you want.
So we have a motion to refer to finance committee. John, you have a lot of work to do. Refer 10A float permit fees to finance committee, seconded by Brian, made by Phil. We'll do that. Any other discussion on that? That'll come back up here for discussion. So Peter,
Yes.
Yes.
thank you. Brian?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Phil?
Yes.
Karen? Donna, yes. John and John?
Yes,
Yes.
Diver John and John McCarthy, yes. All, 8 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Okay. What else?
So. The only other thing I have is heating system for the safe boat. We had talked about it briefly a few meetings ago. That price has now gone from $3,500 to $11,500.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. I have an email. I'm trying to figure out why, trying to get an answer why. So we have that expense if we choose to do that. Right now, it's just winterized and that those systems on the boat can't be used. But it still functions, the boat still functions as we need it to. We have a major mooring inspection that's gonna happen, which is probably gonna be close to $10,000, $8,000 to $10,000, somewhere in that area. We had a safe boat service that just came up that was originally thought to be a $1,500 service that came up as a $4,500 service. And that's what I have.
So Chris, do you need any money
So-
allocated or moved
No.
for any of this or
No,
we?
so we're okay, budget wise, we're okay.
All right,
You know, we're tight, but it will work. We'll make
Okay,
it work.
alright.
So I just wanted to give you guys the update of where we are.
I just get with the heating system on the safe boat. Is that not to the block heater or what is
So-
that?
So there's a generator, excuse me, a raw water cooled generator and heating cooling system in the safe boat that would freeze up in the wintertime.
Right.
So they would have to put a heating system in that would get plugged in, and when the boat temperature dropped down, the heating system would turn on and heat it so it wouldn't freeze. But it's not standard, it's not a standard, it's not standard in that boat, it's an option. So right now, I just winterized it. It lays dormant, so it won't freeze up.
So
So it's no damage to the boat, we just can't
We
use
just
the
can't use it.
generator, but there is another heating system that we can use. The boat has 2 heating systems in.
this came up quite a lot, you know, TJ was like, why would they send a boat without a heating system to the northeast?
Yeah, anywhere
Right? He was pretty
North
livid
of Carolina,
about
at
it.
that point, I mean, Georgia, wherever, so.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
last week.
So it's not absolutely essential at this point,
But you don't know why the price went from.
I don't know that
3,500
yet. I
Okay,
have,
so you'll
I
let us
sent an
know.
email
All right.
to figure out what the story is. If
Okay.
if there's a way that we can do it, not in-house, but locally or cheaper. You know, it's obviously, they're coming from Washington, so you're paying a tech to fly here and.
Chris, how easy is it to winterize that? How long?
That system, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy.
I was gonna say, even if you had the system, you're still relying on power, and if the power went out, you could freeze anyway, is that correct?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
You use it, so you can't winterize.
Well, that particular system, Peter, it does get winterized. It's just a heating, cooling generator system.
It's not the Waterways.
And if you needed it, you go down there, you can just fire it up, right? Turn the valve on and fire it up.
Yes, yes, absolutely. If we needed it, we could turn it on. It would just mean that we'd have to re-winterize it, which isn't a huge deal.
Okay.
Is it a strainer? Do you,
It's that,
is it a
it
strainer?
has a strainer on it and a box because of the volume of water that it pulls in, fills the box, then goes through the strainer. So that's part of the winterizing system. You shut the valve down, fill the box with antifreeze.
Right.
Flow air through it, and then you run antifreeze system.
Anything else on your list, Chris?
That was it on my
All
list.
right, excellent. We're gonna skip discussion on vote and fees. We referred everything to finance. We won't vote on that the rack fee. Callan introduced himself. He's been appointed to the board as commercial fishing slot. And I just want to make not only for all the work in the data, but serving on the board, Peter, his term expires February 15th. He gave up his spot so we could get a commercial fishing person on. I really appreciate it, but he's going to continue working with us.
But I don't have to come to me.
You don't have to come to the meeting. You get to if you want to. You get to if you
What
want.
else what else you gonna do?
No, I already,
Come to the meetings.
I already got another project. What's the thing?
Good Jim.
Does anybody
See him at
have
PT.
anything else they want to or need to bring up?
I had a question for you.
Sure.
I know in one of the past meetings that you specifically mentioned, weightless. You specifically asked about going as well. Did that ever go anywhere?
It did not, but we can
Okay.
refer that right now to that big finance
I mean-
committee meeting.
Wow.
Let's look at
You
it.
guys are gonna be busy.
Yeah,
Refer,
all right.
refer all fees.
I'll make that
And
motion.
just, I mean, it's worth looking at. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean we have to do anything with it.
I've
why leave-
asked
why
about
leave something
waitlist
out?
fees for a really long time and always the answer I got was, don't go there, don't go there.
And you might still
Don't
get
go
that
there.
answer, but I.
All right, so I'm gonna
I
make
think
a
we should leave it
motion to
open.
refer, looking at waitlist fees to the finance committee.
I second.
Any discussion?
Yes,
Go
Jim.
ahead. Oh, no. I'm going the other way. Karen. Yo. Phil,
Yeah,
Bob,
yo,
Brian,
Yes.
yo.
Diver John,
Yes.
John McCarthy,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Donna, yes. Motion passes to refer waitlist fees to finance committee 8-0. Anybody have anything else? Go for it.
Your gentleman in front of you for the commercial moorings, he mentions he has a fuel boat.
Yes.
Yeah,
I didn't
that was
wanna
a
say
real
with-
big mistake making that,
I was like,
saying that.
oh
with
my
you-
God.
Do you
Yeah,
have this?
yes, I'm on it. It's right here.
Okay, good.
That's my tomorrow check.
All
I-
right,
That
did
was right
anybody-
on my list.
Did anybody catch how many gallons?
125.
125.
Perfect. I wrote 100 plus.
So all of us
okay.
had the same thought
Yeah.
immediately.
I can get away with
Anybody
that.
have anything
He's
else?
not gonna get. away
Plus, you
with
can't
it.
juggle
You can't do
boats.
that. It's against the law.
Can we have a motion to adjourn?
That's it.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Brian makes a motion to adjourn. Karen
Second.
second motion. Diver John,
Yes.
John McCarthy,
Yes,
Brian,
Yes.
Bob, Phil,
Yes.
Karen, Donna, yes, and for
How's
Peter's
everyone?
last official vote,
I didn't think I had a vote.
you do.
Okay, but yes.
Today I do.
Awesome.
I was voting.
Motion passes
Don't
8
go,
to 0. Thank you, everybody. I really
Don't go far.
appreciate it.